The galaxy had long since moved on, its dominant alien civilizations oblivious to the tragic fate that had befallen the once vibrant planet known as Earth. But deep within the forgotten corners of the cosmos, a smoldering ember of vengeance had been carefully tended, waiting for the day when the human race would rise again to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. Centuries had passed since the last human colony ship had vanished, its occupants scattered to the winds, forced to eke out an existence in the shadows of the alien-ruled galaxy. But the memory of their homeworld's destruction had never faded, passed down from one generation to the next, a scar that refused to heal. Janus, a young human born into this diaspora, had felt the weight of this legacy from the moment he took his first breath. As he grew, his thirst for knowledge and his determination to uncover the truth became an all-consuming drive, fueled by the stories his elders had shared and the burning desire to one day return to the cradle of his species. Now, in the prime of his life, Janus stood at the helm of a small but elite force, his eyes narrowed as he gazed out into the endless expanse of hyperspace. The coordinates he had painstakingly plotted led to a long-forgotten sector, a region of the galaxy that had been all but abandoned after the fall of Earth. It was here, he believed, that the answers he sought would be found. "We're approaching the coordinates, Commander," a voice crackled over the comm, breaking the silence that had settled over the bridge. Janus straightened, his jaw set with resolve. "Bring us out of hyperspace, Lieutenant. Maintain stealth protocols. We don't know what we might find out here." The ship shuddered as it dropped into real space, its engines throttling down to a low hum. Janus felt a familiar pang in his chest as the familiar constellations came into view, remnants of a time long before the alien civilizations had risen to dominate the galaxy. "Sensors are picking up something," the lieutenant reported, his brow furrowed with concentration. "It appears to be a derelict vessel, drifting in the void." Janus nodded, his mind racing. "Bring us in, but keep our systems powered down. I want to get a closer look." As the ship approached the drifting hulk, Janus felt a chill run down his spine. The vessel's contours were unmistakable, a design he had studied countless times in the ancient texts and historical archives. This was no alien craft, it was human. "By the stars," the lieutenant breathed, his voice tinged with a mix of awe and trepidation. This is an old colony ship. From Earth." Janus gripped the edge of the console, his knuckles whitening. "Initiate a full sensor sweep. I want to know everything about this ship, its condition, its manifest, its last known coordinates." The bridge fell silent as the crew carried out their commander's orders, the only sound the faint hum of the ship's systems. Janus stared out the view screen, his gaze fixed on the derelict vessel, 1,000 questions racing through his mind. What had happened to this ship? Where had it been going? And most importantly, could it hold the key to unlocking the mystery of Earth's downfall and the ultimate fate of his species? Janus, a brilliant military strategist and scion of the human diaspora, had dedicated his life to uncovering the truth about Earth's downfall. Through painstaking research and the passing down of ancient knowledge, he had pieced together a harrowing tale of alien invasion, environmental catastrophe, and the ultimate betrayal that had led to the near extinction of his species. Now, with a small but elite force at his command, Janus was poised to embark on a mission that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order. As the sensor data flowed across the bridge's display screens, Janus felt a mixture of elation and trepidation. The derelict vessel was indeed an ancient human colony ship, its registry and manifest matching the fragments of information he had uncovered over the years. But the readings also revealed a grim reality. The ship had suffered catastrophic damage, its systems long since offline, and there were no signs of life on board. Janus turned to his lieutenant, his eyes narrowed with determination. "Prepare a boarding party. I want a complete forensic analysis of this vessel, every inch of it. We need to know what happened here." The lieutenant hesitated, his expression uneasy. "Commander, are you sure that's wise? We're deep in uncharted territory, and we don't know what else might be lurking out here. Sending a team aboard that ship could be dangerous." Janus held up a hand, silencing the lieutenant. "I understand your concerns, but we can't afford to pass up this opportunity. This ship could hold the key to unlocking the truth about Earth's fate, and possibly even the location of our homeworld." He paused, his gaze hardening. "We've come too far to turn back now." Reluctantly, the lieutenant nodded and began issuing orders to the crew. Janus watched as a team of seasoned human soldiers, clad in their sleek combat suits, prepared to board the derelict vessel. He knew the risks they were taking, but the potential rewards were too great to ignore. As the boarding party made their way across the void, Janus couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought him to this moment. He had spent his entire life consumed by the need to uncover the truth about Earth's downfall, driven by a burning desire to one day avenge his ancestors and reclaim the world that had birthed his species. The stories he had been told as a child had painted a vivid picture of a lush, vibrant planet teeming with life, a paradise that had been ruthlessly torn apart by the machinations of a cruel and unforgiving alien civilization. And now, after centuries of silence, the human diaspora had a chance to finally confront the darkness that had consumed their homeworld. Janus clenched his fists, his resolve hardening. No matter what they found aboard that derelict ship, he was determined to see this mission through to the end. The fate of the human race hung in the balance, and he would stop at nothing to uncover the truth and set the stage for the ultimate reckoning. As the boarding party's comm signals crackled to life, Janus leaned in, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Report." The response was laced with a mix of awe and trepidation. "Commander, you're not going to believe this. We found something. Something that could change the course of our entire mission." As Janus and his crew navigated the treacherous hyperspace corridors, they encountered resistance at every turn. Alien civilizations, long accustomed to the absence of humanity, were now unsettled by the reemergence of this once-forgotten species. Skirmishes erupted, and Janus found himself forced to make difficult decisions, weighing the need for stealth and diplomacy against the burning desire for retribution. The boarding party's report had sent a shockwave through Janus and his crew. Buried deep within the derelict ship's systems, they had discovered a trove of data, logs, flight records, and even a partially intact AI core that painted a harrowing picture of the events that had led to the demise of the human colony. As Janus pored over the information, his jaw tightened with each new revelation. The colony ship had been on a mission of exploration, its settlers seeking to establish a new foothold for humanity among the stars. But their journey had been cut short by a devastating encounter with an alien armada, one that had mercilessly bombarded the ship and left it drifting, crippled and adrift. Janus clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. So it's true. The aliens didn't just destroy Earth. They hunted down our people, wherever they tried to flee. The lieutenant, his face etched with a grimace, nodded solemnly. According to the logs, the colony ship managed to limp away, its systems barely functioning. But they were pursued, relentlessly, until they were finally overwhelmed and left to drift here, in the void. Janus turned his gaze to the derelict vessel, still suspended in the blackness of space. How many were on board? 2,000, according to the manifest, the lieutenant replied, his voice barely above a whisper. Men, women, children, all lost. The bridge fell silent, the weight of the revelation hanging heavy in the air. Janus felt a surge of grief and rage, his heart burning with the need for vengeance. If the aliens had truly sought to erase all traces of humanity from the galaxy, then his people had been robbed of their rightful place among the stars. Set a course for the nearest inhabited system, Janus commanded, his voice steady despite the turmoil raging within him. We need to get this information out, to rally the support of any other human settlements that might still exist. The lieutenant hesitated, his expression uncertain. Commander, are you sure that's wise? We're already deep in enemy territory, and the moment we broadcast this data, we'll be painting a target on our backs." Janus fixed the lieutenant with a resolute stare. "I'm well aware of the risks, Lieutenant, but if we don't act now, the fate of our species may be sealed forever. We can't afford to remain in the shadows any longer." Reluctantly, the lieutenant complied, plotting a course that would take them to the nearest human enclave. As the ship's engines roared to life and they plunged back into the treacherous hyperspace lanes, Janus felt a surge of determination coursing through him. No longer would the human race be content to exist as forgotten outcasts, clinging to the shadows of an alien-dominated galaxy. It was time to reclaim their rightful place and avenge the devastation of their homeworld, no matter the cost. The journey led them to the heart of the alien empire, a sprawling metropolis teeming with the remnants of a civilization that had once triumphed over humanity. There, Janus and his team uncovered a dark conspiracy, a calculated plan orchestrated by a powerful alien cable to systematically erase all traces of the human race from existence. The revelation fueled their determination, and they set out to gather the evidence needed to expose the truth and rally the support of other galactic powers. As their ship emerged from hyperspace, Janus gazed out at the towering spires and gleaming cityscape that stretched out before them. This was the heart of the alien empire, a place where the once forgotten human race had been all but erased from the collective memory of the galaxy. "So this is where it all happened," Janus murmured, his eyes narrowed with a mixture of anger and determination. "The seat of power for the very beings who destroyed our homeworld and hunted down our people." The lieutenant nodded solemnly, his expression grim. "According to the data we retrieved from the colony ship, this is where the alien command decided the fate of humanity. It's where they orchestrated the systematic destruction of our species." Janus clenched his fists, his fingernails digging into the palms of his hands. "Then this is where we'll uncover the truth and rally the support we need to reclaim what was stolen from us." The crew sprang into action, deploying a small, stealthed reconnaissance team to infiltrate the heart of the alien capital. Janus watched from the bridge, his nerves taut with anticipation, as the team navigated the bustling streets and towering spires, searching for any clues that could shed light on the cabal's sinister plans. Hours turned into days as the reconnaissance team meticulously collected data, piecing together the fragments of information they uncovered. Janus pored over the reports, his brow furrowed with concentration, until finally, a startling revelation came to light. "Commander, we found it. The proof we've been searching for." The team leader's voice crackled over the comm. "The alien cable orchestrated the entire genocide of the human race. They deliberately orchestrated the attacks on our colonies, manipulated the environmental disasters that ravaged Earth, and ensured that any trace of our civilization was wiped from the galaxy." Janus felt a chill run down his spine as the implications sank in. So it was all a calculated plan, from start to finish. They didn't just defeat us in battle. They schemed to erase us from existence. The lieutenant's expression hardened, and they almost succeeded. If not for the few human settlements that managed to escape, our species would have been wiped out entirely. Janus nodded, his resolve steeling. "Then we must ensure that they don't succeed in finishing the job. Prepare a secure data package. We need to get this information out to any human enclaves we can reach. We'll rally them to our cause and expose this conspiracy to the rest of the galaxy." As the crew set to work, Janus stared out at the alien capital, his eyes narrowed with a fierce determination. The time for hiding in the shadows had passed. It was time for the human race to rise up and reclaim its rightful place among the stars, no matter the cost. As Janus and his crew delved deeper into the aliens' machinations, they faced increasing opposition and hostility. Powerful forces moved to silence them, unleashing deadly hunters and deploying devastating weapons. The human survivors found themselves engaged in a desperate struggle for survival, forced to utilize every ounce of their ingenuity and combat prowess to stay one step ahead of their relentless pursuers. The moment the secure data package was transmitted, chaos erupted. Janus had anticipated that the alien cable would move swiftly to silence them, but he had underestimated the sheer scale of the response. Waves of enemy fighters and warships converged on their position, bombarding the human vessel with a barrage of devastating firepower. Janus gripped the edge of the console, his knuckles turning white as he barked orders to his crew. "Evasive maneuvers. Get us out of this kill zone," he growled, his eyes scanning the tactical displays with a practiced eye. The ship lurched and bucked as the pilot executed a series of daring maneuvers, narrowly evading the volley of energy beams and missiles. Janus could feel the adrenaline surging through his veins, his mind racing as he plotted their next move. "We can't outrun them forever," the lieutenant shouted over the blare of alarms. "We need to find a way to break through their blockade and jump to hyperspace." Janus' gaze swept across the bridge, his eyes settling on the weapons console. "Then we give them a fight they won't forget," he said, his voice low and determined. The human vessel unleashed a withering barrage of plasma cannons and missile salvos, carving a path through the alien armada. Explosions blossomed in the void as enemy ships were torn apart, but for every one that fell, two more seemed to take its place. Janus gritted his teeth, his frustration mounting. "They're not letting us through. We need to find another way out of this system, or we're finished." The lieutenant's eyes widened as a new set of sensor readings appeared on the display. "Commander, we've got incoming. Multiple hyperspace signatures." Janus tensed, bracing for another wave of enemy reinforcements. But as the ships materialized, he felt a surge of hope. The vessels bore the sleek, distinctive designs of human-built craft. "Hail them, Lieutenant," Janus commanded, his voice tinged with a newfound urgency. "We need their support if we're going to break through this blockade." The comm crackled to life, and a familiar, weathered face appeared on the view screen. "This is Dax, commander of the Human Resistance Fleet. We received your transmission, and we're here to help." Janus felt a weight lift from his shoulders, a glimmer of optimism breaking through the darkness that had threatened to consume him. "Dax, old friend, your timing couldn't be better. We need to get this data out to the rest of the human enclaves, and we can't do it alone." Dax's expression hardened with determination. "Then let's show these alien bastards what we're made of. All ships, engage the enemy. Full throttle." As the human reinforcements joined the fray, Janus felt a surge of renewed vigor coursing through him. The tides were turning, and the human race was no longer content to hide in the shadows. It was time to take the fight to the heart of the alien empire and expose the truth that had been buried for centuries. In a climactic confrontation, Janus and his team managed to breach the heart of the alien empire, standing face to face with the architects of Earth's destruction. The revelations that unfolded shook the very foundations of the galactic order, exposing a web of deceit, greed, and the systematic eradication of an entire species. The fate of the human race now hung in the balance, as Janus and his comrades prepared to deliver their final devastating blow, determined to avenge the memory of their fallen ancestors. The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of plasma bolts and missile barrages as the human fleet engaged the alien armada. Janus watched from the command bridge, his eyes narrowed with fierce determination, as his crew executed a series of intricate maneuvers, steadily pushing closer to the heart of the enemy's defenses. "We're almost through, Commander," the lieutenant reported, his voice tense but resolute. "Just a little further, and we'll be able to penetrate the inner ring of the capital city." Janus nodded, his jaw set with grim purpose. "Good. Prepare the boarding parties. We need to get feet on the ground and locate the center of the alien cable's operations." As the human ships carved a path through the enemy lines, Janus and his elite squad of soldiers donned their combat gear and prepared to make the final push. They knew the risks they were taking, but the stakes had never been higher. The fate of the human race hung in the balance, and they were determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The boarding craft touched down in the heart of the alien capital, its ramp hissing open to reveal a bustling cityscape. Janus and his team surged forward, their weapons at the ready, eyes scanning for any sign of the alien cable members they sought. The streets were teeming with panicked civilians, their cries of terror echoing off the towering spires. Janus felt a twinge of sympathy, but he knew they had no choice but to push on. This was a war for the very survival of their species, and they could not afford to be deterred by collateral damage. As they fought their way deeper into the city, they encountered fierce resistance from the alien security forces. Janus and his team fought with a ferocity born of righteous fury, their weapons carving a path of destruction through the enemy ranks. Finally, they'd reached the towering command center at the heart of the capital, its ornate facade a testament to the alien civilization's power and arrogance. Janus gripped his weapon tightly, his finger poised on the trigger as they breached the inner sanctum. What they found there shook them to their core. Seated at the heart of the cable's operations was a cadre of high-ranking alien officials, their expressions a mix of shock and fury. But what captivated Janus and his team were the holographic displays that surrounded them, each one depicting a different stage of the human genocide. From the bombardment of Earth, to the systematic destruction of human colony ships, to the final desperate efforts of the survivors to flee the relentless alien onslaught, Janus felt a surge of rage and betrayal coursing through him. So it's true, you planned this all along. You didn't just defeat us in battle. You engineered our downfall, from start to finish. The alien officials exchanged uneasy glances, their composure crumbling in the face of the humans' righteous fury. Janus knew that this was the moment they had been waiting for, the moment to finally uncover the truth and lay bare the alien cable's deception before the entire galaxy. With the truth revealed and the alien cable's machinations laid bare, Janus and his crew set out to rally the support of other galactic powers, forging unlikely alliances and convincing them of the urgency to restore justice and honor the memory of humanity. The stakes had never been higher, as they prepared to launch a massive offensive to reclaim the planet that had once been the domain of their ancestors. The revelations within the alien command center had sent shockwaves through Janus and his team, but they knew that their work was far from over. The truth they had uncovered needed to be broadcast to the entire galaxy, shattering the alien cable's carefully crafted lies and paving the way for a reckoning that would shake the very foundations of the established order. As they emerged from the devastated capital city, Janus and his crew immediately set to work, compiling the damning evidence they had gathered and preparing a series of secure transmissions. Their priority was to reach out to any surviving human enclaves, rallying them to join the fight and offering them a chance to reclaim their ancestral homeworld. But the task was fraught with peril. The alien cabal, realizing the gravity of their predicament, unleashed a relentless campaign to silence the human resistance, deploying their most formidable hunters and deploying devastating weapons to intercept their communications. Janus and his team found themselves engaged in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, darting between hidden outposts and utilizing every ounce of their cunning to stay one step ahead of their pursuers. Yet, despite the constant threat of annihilation, they refused to be deterred, driven by a burning desire to avenge the devastation of their species. As their message reached the far-flung corners of the galaxy, Janus began to see the first glimmers of hope. Human settlements, long isolated and resigned to their fate, suddenly sprang to life, their inhabitants rallying to the call of their long-lost kin. Janus watched, his heart swelling with pride, as these scattered fragments of humanity came together, united by a shared history and a common purpose. But the alien cabal was not about to relinquish its hold on the galaxy without a fight. As the human resistance grew in strength and numbers, the enemy launched a massive offensive, their fleets converging on the human-controlled systems in a desperate bid to crush the rebellion before it could gain momentum. Janus knew that the time for diplomacy had passed. The human race had been forced to the brink of extinction, and now was the time to take the fight directly to the heart of the alien empire. With the support of his newfound allies, he began to formulate a plan. A daring, high-risk operation that would target the very center of the cabal's power. As the human fleet prepared to embark on its fateful mission, Janus stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the distant stars. He thought of the sacrifices of his ancestors, the countless lives that had been lost in the quest for vengeance. But this time, he vowed, things would be different. "We stand on the precipice of a new era," Janus declared, his voice carrying a weight of determination that resonated with every member of his crew. "Today, we reclaim our rightful place among the stars. Today, we avenge the devastation of our homeworld. And today, we win. In a final epic battle that shook the very fabric of the galaxy, Janus and his human forces, bolstered by the support of their newfound allies, confronted the remnants of the alien empire. The clash was fierce and unrelenting, but fueled by the burning desire for vengeance and the redemption of their species, the humans emerged victorious. As the dust settled, a new era dawned, one in which the long-forgotten name Earth would once again be etched into the annals of galactic history, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a species that had risen from the ashes to reclaim its rightful place among the stars. The human armada surged forward, its ships bristling with firepower as it bore down on the heart of the alien empire. Janus stood at the helm of his flagship, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon, where the enemy's mightiest vessels were gathering for a final desperate stand. "All ships, prepare for the final assault," he commanded, his voice ringing with authority. "We've come too far to falter now." The human vessels unleashed a barrage of devastating ordnance, plasma bolts and missile salvos carving through the alien defenses. Explosions blossomed across the void as the enemy ships were shattered, their hulls crumbling under the relentless onslaught. But the alien forces were not about to surrender without a fight. They responded with a fury born of desperation, their own weapons lashing out with devastating precision. Janus gripped the edge of the console, his teeth gritted as he watched his crew battle to maintain control of the ship. "We're taking heavy damage, Commander," the lieutenant shouted, his voice strained. "If we don't find a way to break through their lines soon, we'll be overrun." Janus's eyes narrowed as he scanned the tactical displays, his mind racing. "Order the fleet to concentrate their fire on the enemy's command ships. If we can cripple their leadership, the rest of their forces will falter." The human vessels surged forward, raining down a hail of destruction on the alien command ships. Janus watched, his heart pounding, as the enemy vessels began to break apart, their once formidable defenses crumbling under the sheer weight of the human assault. As the battle raged on, Janus felt a surge of determination coursing through him. This was their moment, their chance to reclaim the legacy that had been stolen from them so long ago. He refused to let the sacrifices of his ancestors be in vain. In a final, climactic confrontation, Janus and his crew managed to breach the heart of the alien capital, taking the fight directly to the remnants of the cable that had orchestrated Earth's downfall. The clash was brutal and unforgiving, but the human forces fought with a ferocity that defied the odds. As the last of the enemy forces were vanquished, Janus stood amidst the smoldering ruins, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. The long-forgotten name Earth had once again been etched into the annals of galactic history, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a species that had risen from the ashes to reclaim its rightful place among the stars. Janus felt a weight lift from his shoulders, the burden of centuries-old vengeance finally lifted. But as he looked out at the devastated landscape, he knew that the true work had only just begun. The human race had been granted a second chance, and they would have to rebuild, piece by piece, the civilization that had once thrived on their lost homeworld. Yet, as Janus gazed into the eyes of his crew, he saw a renewed sense of purpose and determination. They had come too far to falter now, and they were ready to face the challenges that lay ahead, united in their quest to forge a new, brighter future for their species.